fear, gentlemen, that we can never really stop talking about traditional conservatism and its relationship to feminism, or as I like to call it in this video, traditional conservafeminism. And this organization recently was pointed out to me, and I thought this might be worthy of making a video because it confirms so much of what Barbaros and I have talked about. Conservatives, traditional conservatives, and feminists essentially being two sides of the same coin with very little difference. Now, I do provide the intro, their little intro video that they have, and a link to the website, or a website where their qualifications are enumerated, but it's quite clear if you watch the video as well as the link I provide, the website, that if anyone wanted any more evidence as to what traditional conservatism is with regards to male-female relations, well, you don't really need any more. And as I once said, in Necessity of Beating a Dead Horse, sometimes you gotta just beat the dead horse until it's dead and dead again. Why? Because if we don't do this, if we don't beat the dead horse, people are going to be conned. Remember, organizations like the so-called Network of Enlightened Women, as they like to call themselves, are simply the other side of the coin of feminist organizations. These women want to be taken care of, and in some respects, they're almost worse than feminists, because feminists are at least overt. Um, if the premise of feminism, to some extent at least, I don't agree with people who say it's necessarily just completely a hate movement. I think Barbaros was spot on when he said it was an advocacy movement more than anything else. If feminism is, however, more overt, its vitriol and its hatred, then men, especially men, need to be doubly careful about organizations such as the Network of Enlightened Women. These Network of Enlightened Women, these are the heirs to a Phyllis Schlafly, you know, a so-called traditional conservative woman with lots of kids who nonetheless was heavily involved in politics. You see, these women want to have their cake and eat it too, twofold. On the one hand, they want to have a white knight, workhorse, worker drone provider. On the other hand, they want to get involved in politics. Well, why would they want to get involved in politics? Because these are women. They want the state to do things for them, right? So you're essentially getting a dangerous concoction here. I mean, it's just waiting to blow up. They want the best of all worlds. At least feminists tell men, and this has led to a point of enlightenment. I like how Barbarossa phrased it once in that video. You know, the like basically a drug trip, and you just sort of wake up from it, and then wow. And feminists just say we don't need men. I mean, whether that's true or not is not even relevant here. They just say we don't need men. We don't want anything to do with them. Okay. These women said this. No, because you'll see that they have a white knight selection process. It's ludicrous. I mean, if it weren't real, you'd think it's fiction. White knight selection process, and the criteria are, as you can see from the screenshots and or the quotes. There are rules to become a gentleman of the year. So let me just read off the rules again. The gentleman must be a current student. A woman must nominate him. The video, photo, or note must be uploaded by midnight on March 31st. To cast a vote, you must like the video, etc., etc. White Knights in tow. It's pretty insane. But one important thing that we need to sort of browbeat almost is the point that conservatism is nothing but a smokescreen. These women want to inveigle their way into all manner of things, and particularly into government. I mean, as you see in the intro video, they say get involved in government and politics. This is, of course, traditionally how women got things done, by having men do their dirty work for them. Right? I mean, feminists still do that. They just do it sort of, well, uh, less covertly. But these so-called enlightened women, I don't know what their numbers are, but there's no doubt that there's a strong undercurrent of this in the United States, at least, where these women say, "No, no, we're not feminists. We're tradcons." And God, it seems like Barbara Russell has been talking about this for years almost, even though that's not the case, but for a long time anyway. And this is a manifestation of this. The most important thing is that men really, really become aware that this is a smokescreen. That these women don't care about men. I mean, look at they're talking about it's helping women. This is essentially this is conservative feminism. Basically, at the end of the day, you can just call it conservative feminism. There's no real difference. This is the right wing version of feminism. If feminism is, and I might grant credence to this, an exclusively left wing uh, ideology, this, however you want to term it, traditional conservative, what have you, this right wing feminism, conservative feminism, is the right wing extension of it. As there is a left hand, there is a right hand, and so on and so forth. There's no real difference. Men take to the backstage on this, and well, and there's not much more to say about this. I basically just wanted to draw this to your attention. Now, there is one more thing I want to mention, and that being that some of the books they cite, these books are just notorious for the tradcon nonsense. What our mothers didn't tell us, and you can watch an interview. I'm not going to post a link to that, but the what our mothers didn't tell us, or what Christina Hoff Sommers. I have a lot of mixed feelings about her. On this channel, I don't care about whether I'm being PC or not. I'm not going to insult her, but the point is that Christina Hoff Sommers, got involved in all of this because of her sons. Now, if you look back a while back, I made a video where I specifically talk about the kinds of women that may or may not be involved in men's issues. And this is the poster child, Christina Hoff Sommers. And if you also look at Girl Writes What's latest video, where she talks about these women who are sort of waking up because their singular cases of their singular sons, are being affected by some of these issues, that is also very telling. And I share Girl Writes What skepticism. This is not I'm paraphrasing here, but femaleness, and she used that word, is an engine. It's not a pendulum. It doesn't swing back and forth. So women like Christina Hoff Sommers got involved in combating left-wing feminism. And I wouldn't go so far as to say that she is a tradcon per se, but there's something very dubious about a person who gets involved because it's some personal event, i.e. her sons, affected her, and then she decides to, well, talk about stuff. It's possible to be affected by something and then develop a philosophical dedication to certain principles. That there's no doubt. But what's much more convincing, and why, say with Girl Writes What, is you might recall some of her where she's always thought feminism was kind of kooky, even before she became a mother, even before all of these things. So it's a little different. Then she had sons. Of course, she's concerned about her sons. Any good mother would be. But the fact that she always had that skepticism towards feminism, even as a teenager, is very telling. You don't really see that with a lot of these other so-called awakened women. And that's something to watch out for, because it's in my mind, it's not very legitimate. The Christina Hoff Sommers of the world, like I said, I don't think she's an official. I'm not going to say she's a traditional conservative feminist, but in some ways, it does seem to be the case. And some of these other books they cite, I mean, this is so the neo traditionalist revival, as some people like to call it. But wolves in sheep's clothing. It's not even they're not even in sheep's clothing. And and this is the problem here. I see here, Jones, that more men will fall for this. Men will fall for this, and why? Because they haven't been, for lack of a better word, sort of lectured, or uh, they haven't been educated. They're not educated on some of this stuff, and it's yeah, it's sad, which is why we need to keep on talking about this over and over again. And it gets a bit boring sometimes, but the simple fact is at this point in time, when with the servicing of organizations like New Enlightened Women and what have you, it's clear that uh, traditional conservatism really is just a right-wing version, at least with regards to male-female relations of feminism. You know, come to think of it, it's just glaringly obvious. It's just Anyway, this is not really a special video, but it is important to bring this to everyone's attention that there literally are organizations like this. And remember, back in the day, women went to university, so they still do this to marry up, to practice their hypergamy, and that's becoming less and less an option because there are fewer men on campuses and what have you. So I suppose this is sort of a backlash thing. That's why you go to university as a woman, so you can marry up. Uh, that said, we just need to keep on beating the dead horse on this issue. But I challenge any tradcon to present evidence that traditional conservative feminism is not anything different to left-wing feminism. That is right-wing feminism any different to left-wing feminism? I like to think not. They both have male disposability as their cornerstone, their pillar, their building block, and they both focus on women, prioritizing women over men. So, how many times it needs to be said, but people think this. I have this delusional idea that traditional conservatism is more beneficial to them than the left-wing version of feminism. At this point in time, uh, left, right-wing feminism, it's kind of all the same at the end of the day. The end result is pretty much the same, which means it's a guy living, in the corpse of some guy in a ditch someplace, or a guy who's homeless on the street, or a guy who's you think conservatives don't like getting divorced? Check out the divorce rates. A guy who's losing his property, his home, his progeny. It's all the same. It's all the same result, and all of these people want to get involved in the government. That is to say that traditional conservative feminists and left-wing feminists, they both love the faceless man, or love is always such a weird word. No, they both take resources and both seek to supplicate the faceless man, and there's a symbiotic relationship between both of them, and that's always to the detriment of the individual man, the faceless man being the state, as I said before. So just a little heads up, guys. This is interesting, but not in a good way. And like I said, there'll be some more videos forthcoming in the next couple of weeks. I'm trying to work on some difficult concepts. But as usual, thanks for watching, and take care.